Bellator 250 on Thursday, October 29th, live on CBS Sports Network. And dual combat sports athlete Jake Hager returns to the cage in a heavyweight battle, looking to go 3-0. A pro wrestling champion from his days in WWE, an NCAA Division I All-American wrestler and record setter at the University of Oklahoma, and current All-Elite Wrestling star as part of the Inner Circle. What a talent, wrestler, and MMA combatant. Hey look, there's another Inner Circle. Pro wrestlers, MMA successful fighters combined. Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Bobby Lashley, and of course, can't forget Dan the Beast Severin. Jake is working toward that. Hey, he's already got the pro wrestling down. Now he's working toward the MMA. And hey, so far so good. Thank you, Jake. Hey, in your many accolades, do you still have the Lucha Underground title belt? And do you think one day we might see the Savage Jake Strong defend it on AEW?
Oh, man. Well, that's a great introduction. I'm blushing over here, Jim. I do still have a replica of the Lucha Underground title, but not the actual title. Man, I really enjoyed my time there. It just kind of seemed one of those things where the unorganization kind of bit them in the butt, and it cost them.
So it doesn't look like we'll ever see it. Well, you should never say never, right? Maybe, who knows down the line if in AEW we could see that.
Oh, man, I would love to. You just saw Penta and Ray Phoenix go at it this past Wednesday on Dynamite. Doesn't that give you all those good underground feelings? I love their match. I'd love to go back in there with either one of those guys.
Yeah, very cool setting, very cool fighters, wrestlers with Lucha Underground at that time. All right, let's turn to MMA. You're facing Brandon Calton at Bellator 250. Do you know much about him?
I know a little bit. Big guy, 7-0 amateur, 9-fight win streak, 2-0 professionally. He's got 2 fights this year. Maybe he has 3 fights this year, so he has no rust. And I know he's taking a couple fights at 300 pounds, so he's going to be all of that 265 when he steps in the cage with me on Thursday.
Pro wrestling and MMA, so different, I think. I've never done either, so obviously you're the expert when it comes to this. Pro wrestling, it's more about protecting your opponent, but making it look good. Where MMA, it's about destroying your opponent. Is either one a little more challenging than the other?
Yeah, they both have their challenges, and they both start with the training involved to become elite, to become a professional fighter, a professional wrestler. It really does take a lot of discipline. And I see a lot of similarities in the training regimens that you have to go through. And it's very physical, and it's also very mental at the same time. I see a lot of similarities between pro wrestling and MMA. Personally, I think both of them, if you're a good wrestler, it's going to make it easier. And if you're a good character, it's going to make it easier. So those two things, I think, really cross over with MMA as they do with wrestling.
Well, that's a very good analogy, because thinking about the entertainment value of it, of course, pro wrestling, it's a lot about entertainment and getting that emotion from the fans. MMA, since it's become more mainstream, that entertainment factor has been built into it now.
It really has. It really has. You have to be a character. You have to be able to take advantage of right after a fight. I think the post-fight interview, when a fighter wins, is one of the most important things a fighter earns when he gets that W. When he gets that win, he not only gets another notch on his belt, but he has the opportunity to speak to all those people that just watched him, and it can be very powerful if you take advantage of it. And it can really send you off and like, hey, I want to see this guy because he said that thing that one time, and next thing you know, you're the main event.
It's been a crazy year. How have you and your family been with the COVID?
We've been very blessed. We live in Florida, and so for AEW, I've just been having to drive up to Jacksonville and work, and that's been really nice. And I got 2 young kids. We did pull them out of school, and we are homeschooling now, but we were fortunate enough that they're young enough, they're 5 and 8, where they're not really missing their friends. They're really wanting to see them every day. And so it worked out. And we are just taking it day by day, like I think most Americans are. Definitely ready to get back to normal, and I won't settle for anything else.
Yeah, it's interesting with Tampa because I believe your wife has South Florida ties.
Yep. She's a Boca Raton girl, born in Fort Lauderdale, grew up in Miami. I got her out of there because I couldn't speak Spanish. I was trying to learn.
You mean you didn't learn in Lucha Underground?
I learned more ordering food in Miami than I did at Lucha Underground.
True. That is so true. And good food, by the way.
Great food.
Are you into the arepas? I'm turning the tables here now because you mentioned the food. But have you tried any of the Cuban food down there?
Oh, yes. So we lived at 50 Biscayne, right there, right in the heart of downtown and Midtown. And there was a Cuban place. I can't think of the name of it. It was like La Star or something like that. It was our go-to delivery. And every time I really had to break down my Spanglish in order to get my order in.
Hey, being a heavyweight, I guess it's okay then if you still ate that type of food.
Lamoon is the name of it. Sorry.
What is it called?
Lamoon.
Lamoon. All right, Lamoon. Hey, being a heavyweight, though, I guess it's okay if you have to eat some of that type of food or want to eat some of that type of food.
Oh, man, my coaches, I got the best coaches in the world, and every day they thank me. They're like, Jake, I'm so glad that you're a heavyweight and we don't have to deal with weight cutting. And I'm like, thanks, guys. I appreciate that, too. It's like, they're like, yeah, you're a big enough diva as is. If you had to cut weight, we probably couldn't put up with you.
Hey, I'm curious, where did you train? Where do you train, and where did you train for this fight?
So I've been very fortunate. I haven't really committed to a big school yet. I was definitely thinking about going down to Top Team or Sanford MMA with Henry Hoof down there in Lauderdale. But we've been here in Tampa, so the main part of the training has been at Ybor City's Jiu-Jitsu with Joey Best, Olympus Jiu-Jitsu with Josh Souter, and then Josh Rafferty and I kind of just bounce around from different facilities, and we bring in our training partners. We got a couple big guys, amateur boxers that really love to hit me, and so we have some good ones. But it's mainly been here at Tampa at those 2 places, and then through the pandemic, I got a little bit of situation going in the garage, kind of like my own startup company. So,
yeah, I wanted to get to the training and through the pandemic and then the last fight, because it's been a little bit of a while. But first, I'm going to say this, and by the way, I'm not getting paid for this, but just to let you know, American Top Team, King Mo, he's also into the pro wrestling. He's been in Impact Wrestling, now with MLW. So there's a little pro wrestling connection with American Top Team and the MMA fighters.
Yeah, I know King. He's a good friend of mine. He was at UCO in Oklahoma State when I was at Oklahoma. And so we've gotten over that adversity, and we're friends now. He opened the door, and he was one of the first guys. I remember my first Bellator event, like back in 18. He was like, Jake, from like across the room, and I was kind of a little bit nervous. My first time event, and he just like brought me in. Great guy. And Dan, there at the Top Team, I met him at the third fight, and he opened the door for me and said, anytime, let's go.
Oh, yeah, Dan Lambert of American Top Team, the head man. He loves that, too, and he's been on TV on wrestling as well. He's an old-school fan. He loves it.
Yep.
Hey, you know, you mentioned King Mo. Did you ever get to wrestle him, or was it a different weight class for you guys? Was he at the same time at OSU when you were at OU?
Yeah, so he was a senior right as I was a sophomore, but he was at UCO for 2 years, and I got a lot of, that's just right up the road from Oklahoma. And so we would wrestle UCO as well, in like the opening season duels. He was 197 and I was 285 at the time. So I lucked out that he didn't have to put that bumping on me.
That's great. Hey, you'll get to maybe see, I know you'll be busy for your fight, but he's going to be there. I've talked to some of the fighters that are going to be at Bellator 250, and they say they're bringing King Mo with them because he's been training the fighters as well.
Man, I believe it. I see him almost at every fight I go to. He's just always there. He's one of those people that you want to see that smile and have him around.
Okay, so what made you decide now is the time? It's been a crazy year with COVID. You're with AEW. Was it because of those factors, or were there other factors you decided, okay, because it's been about a year, correct?
Yep. I was originally scheduled to fight May 9th for Bellator, so I was one of the first cards to get scrubbed from this whole pandemic. And so since then, we really wanted to get 2 to 3 fights in this year, but since then, everything changed. So we've been waiting and staying ready and waiting and staying ready, and it just finally came together now. It's kind of funny that we're back here in October, but honestly, I'm in really good shape now. I wouldn't be surprised to take another fight soon after this and just keep going.
Who are you going to bring with you for this fight?
My coaches are Josh Rafferty, Coach Rob Bradford, and Joey Best. The head coach, Catalina Hager, is actually staying home. El Jefe has to run the business. She can't go out on these vacations, as she calls them.
Bless you, Jake. Bless you. So, will any of the inner circle be seconding you?
Oh, man. Well, we tried that last time, and we had some really cool stuff planned. So maybe, not this time, but maybe next time we'll get them back in there. Yeah,
it's hard with COVID, too. But I'm sure, like, Chris Jericho and the guys would just have a great time with it, getting you all psyched up and pumped up for it.
Oh, man. I couldn't even be around those guys before the fight. They're never serious.
What's it like for you being a part of Bellator?
I love it. It really is something that, it's a big step. Say, hey, I want to go fight professionally. A lot of damage can be done to your body just in training alone, let alone the fight. But I've really come to respect MMA, respect Bellator as a company and the people that put these things together, do a great job of working with their talent and making their talent feel like talent and not just somebody who they have on a leash and they can lead around. So it's cool. It feels like I'm working with someone and not being told what to do. And then as far as MMA, I really feel like this is my calling. I feel like I'm going to go farther in MMA than I have in pro wrestling, which is saying a lot because I'm with Chris Jericho in the inner circle. How much higher can you go? AEW on TNT. But I'm really excited about my MMA career. I know I'm 38 years old. I'll be 39 in March. So I do have a little bit of a window, and I want to capitalize on that. I think this is my opportunity to really put a stamp on my career and my legacy.
Well, Jake, we know so much more about the body and health and nutrition. I don't think the age is such a huge factor, again, not being one that had to go through it, but in the sense of, I think it's more about the wear and tear. Now, obviously, you put wear and tear in your body in the professional wrestling ranks, but not in the MMA. I think does that lend itself to being able to get out there and fight and keep going at that age?
I'm so glad you said that because 100% yes. Sports medicine technology has surpassed the need for any performance enhancements, any PEDs. You don't need that stuff. They have so much new ways to recover your body through pneumatic compression therapy or cryo or just a new understanding of what's really going on with the brain and the unseen injuries that are going on there. It's really cool and still we need more, but right now I would definitely say it's my biggest thing that keeps me going. If you're not serious about recovery, then you're not serious. And every time I get done with a camp or every time I get done with a hard practice, it's all about stretching, it's all about recovery, I hop into my Rapid Reboot leg sleeves, and I feel like fresh again. There's so many cool things and new companies that have come out. You got those percussion drills, the little handgun drills that are coming out. So much new stuff, and that's just the hardware. How about the software, like all the medications and the stuff that you can use to make yourself get stronger without doing anything bad for your body. It's incredible and really exciting. I think it's only going to get better.
You're a smart man for doing your research on this and pulling that information together. Sanford MMA down here, which used to be Hard Knocks 365, led by the great Henry Hooft, they've gotten involved with Sanford Health and Science, and that's a really cool thing. If you don't know too much about it, look it up, because what they're doing with the MMA fighters and combining Sanford Health and Science with Sanford, now called Sanford MMA, is really cool.
Yeah, I follow Big Tall Steve Bowery on the Instagram. I'm a big fan of his. He just won his 8th fight. He's 8-0, Bellator heavyweight. Big guy, and the facilities that he practices at just look incredible. Brand new, all the space in the world, all the great coaches in the world, and now that you're saying they're with Sanford Health, they got all the best rehab in the world. It's great.
You mentioned Maury. Okay, he was a pro wrestling fan when he was younger. He didn't mention Jake. He didn't mention Jack Swagger or Jake Hager. What's going on here?
Well, he's good friends with my coach, Josh Rafferty, and so that's kind of been our connection. I never met Steve until the 3rd fight last year. He was on the prelims. What a cool guy, class act. Wish nothing but the best for him. The dude those knees looked horrible that he was hitting that dude with.
Yeah, maybe it's interesting because maybe we could see you against Steve at some point.
Man, I think I would need another year at least before I'm on Steve's level. But hey, that'd be a good fight. All guys.
All right, a few more questions. We'll get you out of here. I'm curious. You mentioned a little bit about it. I'm curious. What is it like being in AEW? What is it like being in the Inner Circle? Chris Jericho, 30-year celebration. How amazing that he can. There's somebody. Forget about the age, right?
Yep, exactly. It really is. Like, I consider this last year at AEW like my greatest year in my career. Working with Chris has been beyond phenomenal. I try to soak up everything he does. It's just, the guy cares so much, not just about his segment and what the Inner Circle is doing, but about the whole show. Like, he is just that type of person, and you can see how he's helping people and helping people raise their level to this high level of competition that we have at AEW. It's great. The best part is Tony knows how good Chris is. And so Tony doesn't stifle Chris. Instead, he gives Chris the things he needs, the resources to make it happen, instead of fighting him. Like Chris said on XM Radio the other day, it's like, really, how creative can you be? Because that's how successful you're going to be. And it's really exciting to work in a situation like that, where your hard work directly relating to your results, and it's very motivating. And I think a lot of the AEW roster sees that. They look up to Chris, and I mean, just forget about it. Late dinner, dead in there. That was one of the best segments I've ever seen in pro wrestling. You don't have to stand in front of each other and tough talk each other anymore. They just did something. They just opened the door. I guarantee you, once a month, we're going to have new competitors singing at each other.
Jake, is there any dancing, singing, or Broadway skills in Jake Hager?
I got jazz hands for days, Jim. All right, just so you know. I'll carry a beat for about three steps, and then I'll lose it, but then I'll fake it till I make it.
The wife and kids would love you for it, I'm telling you.
Catalina loves to, like, we'll be in the car, and she'll just, like, Jake, find the beat. We're listening to the radio, and I'll carry it for, like, 3 seconds. And then she's like, nope, you're off. I'm like, dang it!
Oh, that's awesome. All right, I'm going to let you get out of here. This is so cool. I could spend, if you'd get too tired, I could spend an hour or two talking to you. But you know what's interesting? With Bellator 250, you're doing your thing there, now with AEW, and I just think it's so cool, the connection with you and legendary broadcaster Jim Ross. And to see you guys reunited, per se, again with AEW, I'm sure the two of you were like tag teaming on all the Boomer Sooner OU football talk, especially this season.
Well, not this season, after those first two games.
That's a good point.
But that OU Texas game was something to hang your hat on, man. Those boys left it all out there. It's so cool for me to be back working with Jim. Our time at WWE was definitely affected by politics, and now that we're like back in the situation again, doing something that we love, Huey and Jerry Briscoe were the guys to get me signed with WWE and to get me started. And dude, I love him. He's the greatest announcer in pro wrestling history.
Is there a bigger OU fan than Jim Ross?
No, but I would say that my mom and dad.
Well played, sir. Well played. That is just so cool. All right, so Bellator 250, Thursday, October 29th, live on CBS Sports Network. Jake Hager, will you be... Now, Halloween is only a few days away from that. Jake Hager, will you be bringing the tricks or the treats to Bellator 250?
I will be bringing the treats for all.
Yes. And I'll let you off on this. And please don't say candy corn. Does Jake have a favorite Halloween candy?
Yes. It's Butterfingers.
Oh, Butterfingers aren't bad. I got a lot of Reese's with peanut butter cups. Those are good too. And an Almond Joy. But you know what? Butterfingers not bad either. Good call. Good stuff, Jake. Hey, anything social media or you want to promote or get out there as well?
Yeah, if you guys are looking for a great at-home piece of fitness equipment, you're selling the Kettlebell on Catalina's website, catalinatechnique.com. You don't need to go to a gym. You don't need a gym membership. 7 weights in one. It's great to check out. Catalina.com/Kettlebell.